I'll tell you right now, boy, do we have a conundrum coming to America. I'm telling you. I've been warning people for a while about this one. Been warning people for a while about this one. I had a dream quite a few months ago about something coming out of China once again, and there being a lockdown because of it, and forced this stuff. I'm gonna wait for people to load into the live chat, get their notifications. Yeah, things are getting crazy right now. That's for sure. Hello, Eagle Curtis. Good to see you, brother. Wait for anybody else hopping in. Boy, my live chat was messed up there for a second. Hello, John Domini. Good to see you, my friend. It's crazy. I got 6 likes. It says one person is in my chat room. That's crazy to me. Just crazy to me. Oh man, this one's going to be an interesting one for you folks. This one's going to be an interesting one for you. And I want everybody that, has something to say about news, just kind of hold back, please. Just hold back. Just let me get through this. No one needs to jump the gun and be like, oh, I heard this, because I'm probably going to be covering it. So lots of articles to read to you today, and it's about this bird flu stuff. This is definitely something to be taken seriously, folks. I'm serious. I told you months ago, that something like this was coming before we even were thinking about bird flu. I mean, I actually would like to start off by talking about the dream that I had. That way you guys understand where I'm coming from. And I'll even grab a piece. Hold on 1 second here. I actually have it sitting right here, funny enough. So, anyways, I had a dream months ago. I mean, well over a half a year ago. About this. And I was in like a suburb neighborhood, but it wasn't like a high-end suburb neighborhood. It was like double wide trailers and stuff like that. Just really nice yards. You know what I mean? Anyways, I went outside. I didn't even see the house that I was in. I went outside, and there was a giant chunk of jade, and this is jade right here. All right, there's a giant chunk of jade. But if you notice, there's inclusions in this. But notice the edge, how you can kind of see through that. All right, it was similar to that, but bright green, and it had no inclusions whatsoever, like AAA grade jade, AAA grade jade. And so like I'm a rock hound, and that's why I have this cut piece of jade right here. Anyways, so I instantly felt in my spirit when I seen that in the dream, okay, that it had something to do with China. All right, China covets jade. All right, that's they absolutely covet jade. All right, that is their number one stone. You know what I mean? Anyways, hold on 1 second. It's getting kind of bright out here. That is like a major coveted stone for them. It represents a lot of different things to them. It represents rebirth, actually, as well, to them, not to me, to them. All right. So I'm wondering if this is some kind of pandemic reborn. Just saying. Okay. Just throwing that out there. Jade itself, though, like this, is a type of serpentine. Okay. That's the family that jade comes from, is a serpentine. It's like a gemmy form of serpentine. All right, it usually has a lot of inclusions in it, like this one does, that you can kind of see the inclusions, not the cracks or nothing like that, but you can see the inclusions in there, little specks of stuff and whatnot. All right, lots of inclusions, and that's usually what it looks like on the outside, real rough, and you never know on the inside how pretty it can be. Anyways, getting past that, all right, I go out into this suburb, and no one's around. It is a ghost town, okay, ghost town. Either a bunch of people died, or people fled for the hills, or there was a lockdown happening. Okay, absolutely. In this dream, I couldn't shake the feeling. All right, couldn't shake the feeling. Anyways, so I'm looking around and I'm like, it was a really bright and shiny day. It was not winter. It was like a summer type of setting. Okay. Real sunny out. All right. I do remember that in the dream. And immediately I went from that setting, this, multiple story building, but it had been just riddled with bullet holes. It was pretty dilapidated at that point because of whatever battle had taken place there. And I saw two militarized forces, one completely in full black tactical garb. I'm talking face mask, goggles, helmet, couldn't see nothing of their face, couldn't tell what ethnicity they were, anything like that. Black tactical gear all over the place. All right. And they had these that they were giving out. You know what I'm saying? They're forcibly doing that stuff in my dream. And I saw a militarized force of law enforcement, and we all heard the Ohio sheriff come out and state that if something goes down, it's going to be your law enforcement that's going to respond. He's like, the sheriff even said in Ohio, he said, we can't just respond to bad things happening, or we can't just get the Army to just automatically respond to bad things happening. It takes some time to mobilize and things like that. He said it's going to be your law enforcement officers that are going to get out there and keep things safe. All right. Now, getting past that, all right, I saw this militarized group of tactical black gear. These guys had just a bunch of hodgepodge tactical gear, nothing really, uniform or anything like that, just kind of thrown together, but they were in tactical gear as well. And I saw in this building two forces getting ready to converge on each other. All right. Now, what happened is instead of both groups kind of going at it, I saw two leaders from these groups moving on each other, and they fought and they tussled. Okay, they're rolling around, wrestling around, and one of the guys in the black tactical gear, and I'll tell you right now, they were obviously working for somebody else. All right, I don't know if it was an invasion. I don't know if it was a company Blackwater. Blackwater is definitely, would be symbolized by black tactical gear. Okay, but anyways, they were moving in. And there was a fight between this law enforcement officer and these guys in this black tactical gear, and he stuck him with that, and all of a sudden that law enforcement officer stood up and just like, I think there's something wrong, guys, like turned back to his unit saying, I think there's something wrong, guys, and just dropped dead quicker, dropped dead as a doornail. All right, dropped dead as a doornail. And that was the first dream. All right, I worry that this whole thing is going to turn into some hemorrhagic thing. Because not long after that, I had another dream. All right. And the reason I'm talking about the dreams before I get into the news, because I want you to know I saw this stuff well before it happened. Not that I'm like some prophet or trying to be some prophet, but I'm trying to say God confirms his word. All right. God confirms his word, and God will tell you when something's going to happen before it happens to keep you aware, keep you ahead of the game. All right. And I was in like a school parking lot. All right. I recognized the school, not going to say what school, obviously online. But I was in a school parking lot, and I was looking around, and things were just kind of normal, at first. And then all of a sudden I saw these people that were just kind of like, walking real weird and funny, bleeding out of their eyes, bleeding out of their mouths, bleeding out of their ears, bleeding out of their nose, every orifice that they could bleed out of, they were bleeding out of. All right, some kind of hemorrhagic fever, Ebola, something else, I don't know. But I wonder if this is going to turn into some kind of hemorrhagic something that's going to develop into that, or they'll release something new during whatever is about to happen. Because I'm telling you, when I read to you what I'm about to read to you, most of you that aren't in the know are going to definitely drop some bricks. We'll say it to you that way. And so anyways, so my point is that in this dream, okay, all these people were around, started to see just a few people at first, 1, 2, 3, 4, a couple of people bleeding profusely. All right. And then everybody split, dude. And everybody went into their houses, slammed their doors shut, pulled the blind shut, completely locked down. And I'm standing here and I just can't believe what I'm seeing in this dream. All right. So I had that first dream, and then probably maybe, I don't know, a couple of weeks later had the second dream. They were kind of like boom and then boom. Okay. And then here we are a few months later, actually, no, when I had that dream, that dream, let me say here, I told you about it on End Times Talk on the Rumble channel a few months back. okay, a few months back, probably 6, 7, 8 months back, okay? But I had the dream a couple of years ago, okay? I had the dream a couple of years ago. All right, so anyways, had those dreams, and then I'm going to start to read you now all the news that's coming in, all right? Lots of different stuff going on. So the USA Today, this was 23 hours ago that this report came out, traces of bird flu virus have been found in milk. And yes, pasteurized milk. I told you. I have been telling you from the get-go. All right? All right? I have been telling you from the get-go. Okay? All right? That this stuff was going to happen. And Janie Withrow, the last live chat that we had was a conundrum, and I deleted it because of that. As long as people are decent on this one and everything goes well, I won't delete it. Anyway, so 23 hours ago, they released traces of bird flu virus have been found in milk. And yes, pasteurized milk. What's going on? Is dairy safe? Now, let me read to you how they backtrack a few times in this article themselves. And they literally are telling you, oh, we're making a call, but we don't know. I'll get into it. Fragments of the virus that causes bird flu have been found in samples of pasteurized milk. And I'll tell you right now, people have done the research, and they're finding out about 40% of the milk on the market has this bird flu in it right now. I'm telling you, this is so much worse than what people can begin to understand. And I don't want to hear no blah, 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 fake news, this and that. Oh, you just wait. It'll come out more and more. All right? I'm telling you, more than 8 states are having outbreaks right now. And more than 48 states. That's the thing. That's just cows. That's just cows. When it comes to chickens, 48 states. All of the lower 48 states have infections, people. All of them. All right, now listen. Officials told reporters on Wednesday that the milk tested positive for the presence of the virus. But, all right, like I said, they like to lie to you a little bit, but the results do not indicate that the virus is currently infectious, as the pasteurization process works to inactivate viruses. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, yes, viruses are heat sensitive, okay? But they found out with the whole coronavirus COVID-19 stuff, it takes 3 minutes of heat, all right, to kill off those viruses, okay? Now, I'm telling you right now, some of these farmers, all right, are only pasteurizing their milk to 10 to 15 seconds. 10 to 15 seconds. I hope you're all listening. 10 to 15 seconds, all right? 40% of the milk out there is tainted. You go ahead and you roll the dice if you want to. Listen to me, please, people. All right? The initial positive samples came from a limited number of tests. Oh, it's just limited, of course, done by researchers on milk at grocery stores. So this is grocery stores. So this isn't even the government coming out and testing stuff. This is people getting out, going into their grocery stores and sending it in and getting it tested. All right, now listen. All right, federal agencies are now doing their own more robust tests. So people, Americans, aren't going to listen to the lies of their government anymore. All right, are you hearing me? And they go out and they start testing this stuff for themselves, and they're finding out that 40%, okay, is literally tainted with this stuff. All right, 40% of what they've come into. All right, now listen. Now, it says right here, federal agencies are now doing their own more robust tests. Yeah, after Americans call their bluff and say, no, we're going to go ahead and test and find out, okay? The FDA said that, all right, and is working with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the Center for Disease Control. Oh, yeah, they're in on it now, too, and prevention and state partners to investigate. To date, we have seen nothing. This is a lie. I'm telling you. Later on, they tell you they're lying. Give me a second. Listen to the article. To date, we have seen nothing that would change our assessment that the commercial milk supply is safe. Donald Prater, the acting director of the Center for Food Safety and Applied Nutrition at the FDA, told reporters. On Wednesday, officials announced a new federal order. Federal orders, isn't that great? That will require all dairy cattle to be tested for bird flu before being transported across state lines. Any cows that test positive will have to wait 30 days and retest before being moved, said Administrator for the USDA's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, Michael Watson. The influenza, or the avian influenza H5N1 virus, has recently infected herds of dairy cows in several states. Now I know it's up to, they're saying up to 8, they're saying 8 states and then some now. All right, but I'm telling you, they're just naming a few right here, and it's the ones that we already knew. It doesn't matter, but now they've added 2 to the list, and they're thinking that there's more. All right, just like I told you, 48 states have birds, have chickens with the influenza as well. All right, now I'm not even going to name the states because we already have heard those. It's a regurgitated information. Both the FDA and the USDA said the current commercial milk supply is safe. Oh, in that real cute. Because of the pasteurization process and the diversion or destruction of milk from sick cows. I'm telling you, they only test milk that looks sludge-like or slime-like. All right, that's why they were started to test. All right, and they only pasteurize any of this milk, and I'm not talking the infected milk that they know is looking nasty, but I'm talking they only pasteurize for 10 to 15 seconds. For some farmers, okay? You need to hear this, people. All right. So this isn't getting killed off. I'm telling you, people. All right, I'm telling you. The agency, and so like I said, you can get 10 jugs of milk, and 4 of them are probably going to have bird flu particles in there, and they're saying that it's dead particles. Yeah, right, my foot. They said it wasn't in the food supply at first, and now, or it wasn't in the public supply at first, and now it is. And I told you it was going to be. I warned you it was going to be. You want to know why? Because the Illuminati card telling me that there's another quarantine coming, just like before, they told us that the first quarantine was coming. And this is the new one, bird flu, right here, people. I hope people are listening to me. I hope people get this. Very few are going to listen. Very few are going to take this seriously. The agency pledged to take the situation seriously. Okay, yeah, that's why you're telling everybody it's okay. It's okay. Go ahead, keep drinking milk. And release results from multiple studies in the coming days or weeks. So, first off, they haven't even done the studies yet or released the results of the studies, but they're telling you it's safe. First lie number 1. All right, now hold on one second here. I'm just going to read all of this. This is a bunch of backwash. That's all it is. This is backwash. Avian influenza or bird flu is a disease caused by an avian influenza type A virus infection, according to the CDC. I mean, honestly, this is just a bunch of stuff we already know. Give me a second here. While the pasteurization process is designed to make milk safe by inactivating viruses, it doesn't destroy the virus fragments. All right? Right there, they're telling you a truth. It's important to understand that the fragments, such as the genetic material of those pathogens, can still be found in pasteurized milk. When they told you at first that it couldn't, they told you at first that it couldn't, people. I hope you see what's going on here. And I'm telling you right now, I do have reports coming into me that this stuff was known about in our supply, all that stuff, all the way back to January. And I know people that can't get their kids unsick right now. I know people that have super sick kids. They just continuously are sick. Everybody else, I mean, I know a bunch of kids that are sick. It's important to understand that fragments such as genetic material of this pathogens can still be found in pasteurized milk, Prater said. Still, pasteurization is very likely is the key word here, wordplay, all right, to effectively inactivate heat-sensitive viruses like H5N1 in milk from cows and other species. I'm telling you, because it's in the goats, too. They just haven't really come out and told you. Officials said Wednesday that current studies on how effectively pasteurization kills off bird flu viruses are underway. So they're not done yet. They don't have any results, but they're telling you it's okay. But the process has proven effective in similarly acting viruses for decades. Oh, wow, because everything's been fine for a while. We can take this seriously, right? Like, because you've been telling us the truth the whole entire time, and there's no, like, gain of function or anything that has happened during this whole situation at all. I'll be honest with you, I'm a little bit pet peeved. I'm sorry. I have some attitude today, okay? I'm not answering any questions in the live chat. I'm focusing on news. In thermal inactivation has been successful at inactivating bird flu in eggs, which occurs at a lower temperature than in milk, especially because they do it for such little a time in milk, right? That's going to help. The FDA and its partners are testing samples of milk from store shelves. When they said it couldn't get there, they said the pasteurization process could kill it, but they keep moving the goalposts. Right? And conducting further analysis on any that show they have bird flu virus to ensure that the virus fragments are inactive. So they don't know if they're inactive or not. They're trying to sit here and tell you that they're inactive. Let me read it again. Read the wordplay here. The FDA and its partners are testing samples of milk from store shelves and conducting further analysis on any that show they have bird flu virus to ensure that the virus fragments are inactive. So they are trying to ensure that the virus fragments are inactive, so they don't really know, Prater said. Those results will be available in the coming days, he said. So they're not even available. But they're telling you that it's okay. All right? All right? They're telling you it's okay. I don't know. I can't answer everybody's talking this product, that product. I don't know. I don't know what goes into those products. I don't know. I haven't done any of that research. I'm just telling you right here, okay? And I'll tell you right now, back in January, there's a woman in China, and it wasn't H5N1, but there was a woman in China that died from the bird flu. So it's even there. It was even there. Like I told you, it comes from China. Give me a second here. We got a lot more to share with you. That's just one article. I need some water, people. Nathan Greenwood, I do not know, brother. I do not know. All right? I do not know. So, poultry that have been affected is, and this is as of April 24th, 2024, 90 million poultry, actually almost 91 million poultry are affected with bird flu in all 48 states. Let me show you if you don't believe me. Right here. Right here. Hold on, let me turn the thing down here. Almost 91 million, right there. Right there. 48 states, people. And when it comes to dairy cattle, 8 states. And that's what they're just telling you right now. That's what they're just telling you right now. It's further spread. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you, people. You're welcome, Marie H. Now, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. Give me a second here. All right. And these are the counties that are affected. You know, you're going to have to look at this yourself and decide, you know, what county you live in. All right. But these are the counties that are infected by the poultry bird flu. Hold on. Let me dim this down. I'm sorry. It's just too bright. These are the counties that are affected. So you look at that, you know where you're at on the map. And those are the counties that are affected with the bird flu right now, that are in the chickens and stuff. All right? Right there, people. Right there. Right there. That's from the CDC. Look in the corners. CDC telling you. Now, people, I'll tell you right now, there's a bunch of people that are going to take this as a joke. A bunch of people are going to take this as a joke, not take it seriously. Yeah, 518 counties, Global News Wars. 518 counties, 1,127 reported outbreaks. That's just the reported outbreaks, people. 48 states are affected, and this is with poultry. This is with poultry, people. Now, I got a couple. I'm gonna switch to my computer here. I got some stuff lined up here. This is an old one, but we're gonna read it. It's not too old though. April 25th, 2024. So it's actually more recent than what I thought. U.S. is collaborating with Chinese scientists to make bird flu strains more infectious and deadly as part of a $1 million project, despite fears similar tests unleashed COVID. Research involves infecting birds with flu viruses to make them more infectious. USDA is spending more than $1 million to fund the risky experiments. I wonder why they're doing that. You ask me. You tell me, I mean. The U.S. government is spending $1 million of American taxpayer money to fund experiments on dangerous bird flu viruses in collaboration with Chinese scientists, just like the dream. The research involves, and I hope there's got to be people in here that have been a part of this channel for a long time that remember me telling them about these dreams way back. If you could confirm in the live chat so people know that, like, I remember you, Josh, talking about this dream a long time ago. The research involves infecting ducks and geese with different strains of viruses to make them more infectious. Oh, so it's the geese now. It's the geese now, too, that are moving around and migrating and all that stuff. Goody gumdrops that make them more infectious and study the virus's potential to jump into mammalian hosts. So mammals, be able to jump to mammal hosts. According to research documents, it is being funded through the U.S. Department of Agriculture and collaborate. Aren't those the same people telling us there's nothing to worry about, too? And they're the ones that are funding it? Makes you start to wonder, doesn't it? All right. And collaborating studies will take place at sites in Georgia, Beijing, and Edinburgh in Scotland. Just so you know, it's not just America. And I'll tell you right now, it's spreading elsewhere. There's already 20 people with the bird flu in Vietnam. Did you know that? Did you know that it's they're starting to have outbreaks in England as well? So you people that think you're immune overseas, man, you better think again. It comes despite similar research being restricted in 2022. And I'm sorry I have a cocky attitude. The cocky attitude goes towards these people that lie to us and tell us one thing and it's really another. And then we find out a little bit later it's exactly as what we thought it was. And I'm really cheesed off at this whole situation because I've been saying this and warning people, no one taking it seriously. Chinese studies may have it comes despite similar research being restricted in 2022 and growing concerns that dubious Chinese studies may have started the COVID pandemic. The white, give me a second here, I'm trying to find anything else. The documents were obtained by the campaign group, the White Coat Waste Project, and shared with DailyMail.com. The paper show funding for the avian virus research began in April 21, and it is slated to continue through March 2026. I wonder what this is. I wonder what that is. Doesn't that say 2025 to 2028? Okay. All right. The USDA told the website the project was applied for in 2019 and approved in 2020. So during your first pandemic, they're getting ready for the next one. The specific viruses the researchers will work with include H5N6, H7N9, and H9N2, WCW reported. A 2023 study described H5N6 viruses as highly pathogenic with the ability to cause neurological complications in humans. Wow, it just keeps getting better, doesn't it, as we read, doesn't it? The H7N9 strain first infected humans and animals in China in March 2013, and the World Health Organization said it is of concern because most patients have become severely ill. I wonder why, because you're gain of functioning, that stuff. Now, I'll even tell you what's that, and I mean Global News Wars, if you're in the live chat, brother, what's the director of the CDC's name? The old guy, not Robert. Maybe it's Robert Redford. Robert Redford. Anyways, maybe it's Robert Redford. I'm pretty sure it's Robert Redford. They absolutely. He called it. He said, "Oh, I'm not too worried about the whole. I'm not too worried about the whole COVID pandemic. It's the bird flu that's going to be the real one with the 50% kill rate. That's what it is. All right." It's just not mutated enough yet. It's getting there. It looks like it's getting there. And they've created it to do so, to have a slow, it's a slow burn is what it is. All right. The H9N2 strain has been found in doves in China. And while it has a lower pathogenicity than the other strains, it can still infect humans. The main collaborators on the project are USDA. All right. Aren't those the same people telling us it's okay here in America? Southeast Poultry Research Laboratory, the Chinese Academy of Sciences, and the University of Edinburgh's Roslin Institute. A Wuhan lab partner. Isn't that funny? A Wuhan lab partner. I wonder what that means. Additionally, one of the researchers collaborating on the project is Wenji Liu, who is affiliated with the WIV, which is believed to have sparked the COVID pandemic. All right, and a member of the board of Scientific Journal, working with Zhang Lishi, who is known as the Bat Lady for her extensive work on bat coronaviruses. Wow, the same people that did the first one are involved? Couldn't be. It couldn't be. Different aspects of the research are slated to take place in multiple locations, including poultry research centers in Athens, Georgia, at the Roslin Institute in Edinburgh, and the Chinese Academy in Beijing. Alan Rodriguez, a spokesperson with the USDA, told DailyMail.com the $100 million funding awarded to the research is only being committed to the specific components carried out by own team located in Athens, Georgia, and is not in any way contributing to research taking place in the UK or China. All right, so here's the documents. I'm not even going to, it's just the documents that they came out with. Justin Goodman, Senior Vice President of the WCW, said in a statement to DailyMail.com, it's reckless and indefensible for bureaucrats to bankroll dangerous avian flu gain-of-function studies involving virus experimenters from the notorious Wuhan animal lab that likely caused COVID and its Chinese Communist Party-run parent organization, the Chinese Academy of Sciences. Taxpayers shouldn't be forced to foot the bill for animal experiments with foreign adversaries that soup up viruses and can cause pandemics or create bioweapons. Following the publication of the documents by WCW, Republican Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa wrote a letter Thursday to Tom Vilsack, Secretary of the USDA, seeking more information about the department's ongoing funding of the research. Good for you, Joni. The letter read, I was troubled to learn from the nonprofit group White Coat Waste Project that USDA is supporting experiments involving a highly pathogenic avian influenza virus. And isn't that the same virus where they talked about the birds mutating a virus in that movie Contagion? Yeah, I wonder. I wonder if this has anything to do with Captain Trips in the movie The Stand and how it'll bring about the end of times and the arrival of the Antichrist. Maybe not. Senator Ernst said in a statement to DailyMail.com, the health and safety of Americans are too important to just wing it, and Biden's USDA should have had more apprehension before sending any taxpayer dollars to collaborate with China on risky avian flu research. They should know by now to suspect foul, no pun intended, play when it comes to researchers who have ties to dangerous Wuhan lab, and simply switching from bats to birds causes concerns that they are creating more pathogens of pandemic potential. Here's my warning. The Biden administration should be walking on eggshells until they cut off every cent going to our adversaries. We cannot allow what happened in Wuhan to happen again. Despite the senator's concerns, the USDA spokesperson told this website it is common for international researchers to conduct independent research that's connected to the same end goal and that the researchers do not qualify as gain of function. Isn't that what Anthony Fauci said? I wonder. Let me get some water here. He added, and anytime Senator Ernst has a question for USDA about our research or our commitment to helping America's farmers mitigate animal diseases like highly pathogenic avian influenza, they've done such a great job with the cows and the chickens and the goats and the otters, she should reach out to us directly before putting misinformation in a press release or public letter. Man, that sounds a lot like fact-checking already, isn't it? It just kind of strikes me as fact-checking already. Calling people liars before they even, really have a chance to talk to people about stuff. And despite the senator's assertions, this is not gain-of-function research. Yeah. Because animal diseases present a global threat, it is common for international researchers to conduct independent research that's connected to the same end goal. But what Senator Ernst lays out in her letter is far off base from what actually transpiring. And on top of that is based on approval decisions that predate this administration. Makes you wonder who. Now, I'm not going to get into politics, but thank you, Joni Ernst, for actually having America's back. Now, isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? And the smug comments need to stop. Take this seriously, people. I hope you're taking this seriously. Don't just pan this off and make jokes. Take it seriously. All right, now here's another one that you're really going to find interesting. Dairy workers' bird flu case sparks concern as experts wonder about spillover to humans. Chatham County, Georgia. So this is in Georgia. The recent bird flu infection of a dairy worker in Texas has placed officials and scientists on high alert, although experts say the virus isn't something to panic about. No, don't panic. Don't panic. And even if it is something to panic about, don't panic. It does you no good to panic. Amen? All right? It certainly is something to keep an eye on. Hundreds of poultry operations have recently been affected by the avian flu. Actually, it's more like over 1,000. And it's like 1,100 and something now. So not hundreds. Why don't you say over 1,000? So have recently been affected by the avian influenza virus, and it started to spread to dairy cows too. And so it went from 48 states, all 48 states, lower 48, have avian influenza in their poultry. All right, only 8 states now with dairy cows. So it's gone from one mammal to, or it's gone from one thing to the next. All right, now it's in goats and otters as well. Doctors told, and I guess there's even birds in New York that are getting it, so it's spreading around. I wonder if they're going to make us eat the bugs, all right? If they'll kill off all this stuff because of this, make us eat the bugs. And for those of, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to make some people mad, but those of you who are bold enough to say, oh, don't worry about this. This is nothing. They're just trying to kill off all of our food, man. You better think twice. You better think twice about what you're spewing and what kind of stuff you're saying, because I'm telling you, there could be something to this one. All right. Doctors told WTGS that the virus has a mortality rate of around 50%. That's exactly what Robert Redford, who used to work for the CDC, was the director of the CDC, said in humans, while it hasn't infected a lot of humans. So, okay, they've switched it from one human being infected, all right, to now it hasn't infected a lot of humans. There's 20 people that are infected in the Philippines. And I'll tell you right now, I can't say that you're going to work. All right, I love you. Do some jumping jacks or something. I'm live right now. That's okay. God bless you, buddy. I love you, and have a good day at work, okay? Huh? Yeah, that's your mom's. Yep. Love you, buddy. Have a good day at work. Be safe. All right, so now also, and this is just hearsay, but someone on something else I'm a part of has said that they have contracted bird flu, all right? But they're planning on getting a vaccine that they already have patents for and that they already have the vaccines ready for. That's pretty weird. Wonder what that's about. All right, like I said, doctors told WTGS that the virus has a mortality rate of about 50% in humans. While it hasn't infected a lot of humans this week, the CDC asked states to be ready with testing, just like before. Be ready with testing. All right, I'm gonna stop here for a moment, and I'm gonna come back to the live chat here. I want to get this across to you. Ooh, do I got the goosebumps right now, man? This is all too familiar. What I'm gonna tell you right now, people. What I'm gonna tell you right now is I remember when the first pandemic happened. Okay. And I was that person that was warning people before it happened. I told my wife, what was it? I think it was like 11 days before the lockdown actually happened. I told her, I said, we will be locked down. Mark my words, just a few days, they're going to lock us down. And boom, we were locked down. My wife has even gone into the live chat before and even told people. My husband told me, she's like, I never used to believe him, but she's like, I believe him now. Yep. Thank you, Leslie Jacobs. Robert R. Redfield, not Redford, Redfield. Robert Redfield, the former director of the CDC, says it's going to be bird flu this time. He already knew, because he already knew that way back in 2019, they would already started working on it. They've been working on this for, 5 years, for this, people, for this. I hope you're reading that. I hope you get that. Anyways, so, during the first pandemic, I remember because at that time I didn't have a YouTube channel, okay? And I got into the live chats, different places, and I got into Facebook forums and things like that, and I started warning people locally, all right? I had a buddy that actually had a girlfriend in China at the time, okay? And he worked in a city to the north of me, okay? And he was heading back home, and he stopped on the side of the road to help some people that had a flat tire. He's a mechanic. He loves messing with cars. He's a motorhead. He loves that stuff. Ended up being 2 Chinese women, and they couldn't speak a lick of English, but he knew some Mandarin, and so he was able to communicate with them. And they told him that they were fleeing China because of the virus, and that they actually were being held for 2 weeks on a military base here in the state of Michigan, and released them, okay? And they were just trying to get to a certain city to be with family members that they knew that were there, all right? And I'm like, dude, this is it, man. Like, this is it. This is the proof. So I went into all these different Facebook groups, that were local here, and I started shouting it from the rooftops. Man, everybody called me a fear monger, all this stuff. They kept attacking me, saying all sorts of bad stuff about me, saying horrible things. I told them, I'm like, you're going to be eating your words here soon when this ends up being a real thing and ends up being a lockdown and all that stuff. All right. Anyways, so that happened. All right. But I was warning people months before they ever said it was here. All right. I remember getting sick months before they ever said the first pandemic was here. Who can raise a hand right here and say that you got sick before they ever said COVID or coronavirus or whatever was in America? Can anybody raise their hand with me? All right. And say that they got sick beforehand? Because I know I did. All right. And it killed my uncle. All right. There's some real stuff going on. I don't care what people say about, oh, it was fake and this and that, whatever. You know, yeah, the masks didn't help nothing, but whatever. So virtual backgrounds of someone, Leslie Jacobs said she did in December 2019. All right. That's exactly right around the time when I got sick. Before they ever said it was here in America, I was getting sick. And now I'm telling you right now, the kids are already starting to get sick, and you better be careful what milk you're giving your kids at school because you can't see the milk in those cartons. All right. You can't see the milk in the cartons. Bunch of people were sick before, just like a bunch of people are sick getting now. And I was even told by one of my friends, man, my kid's been sick for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. No, 21 days it was. I think he said 21 days at the time. All right. And she just keeps getting sick and nauseous, vomiting, all this stuff. All right. And he doesn't know what's going on with her. And I'm not saying it's this. Brother. Okay. I'm just saying, I'm proving a point that there's sickness that's lasting even into the summer months when it's usually like a cold thing. It's usually like during like the fall and the early spring and stuff like that. Like we're starting to get, past them early spring months where it's cold and getting into warm weather, and here we are, a bunch of people getting sick. All right. I've even had a couple of mothers come into the live chat from past lives that I've done and say that their kids passed away from something just recently. Okay. Being honest with you. All right. Not going to sugarcoat it. Not going to sugarcoat it at all. Anyways, let me get some more water here. It says right here, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, said Timothy Connolly, an internal medicine physician at Memorial Health. The initial symptoms of bird flu are very similar to COVID-19 or the regular flu, such as muscle aches and upper respiratory symptoms that can have you reaching for ibuprofen, Connolly said. The medication that is highly effective in this instance is Tamiflu. It works best if given within 48 hours of getting infected. The virus is contagious and is spread through the air. Are you listening to me? The virus is contagious and is spread through the air. It is not easily spread between humans yet, all right, because that's what they keep telling us. They keep telling us to keep moving the goalposts. Usually people get it from birds, said Connolly, but as we have seen, recently people have been able to get it from cows. It hasn't been a lot of animals that have been infected, that there have been a significant number of chickens and poultry birds that have been infected, all right, just like all 48 states and over 1,100 cases. And I'm talking farms. The FDA has identified them and taken them out of the food supply. If you were to consume an animal that was infected, if you cooked it properly, that would kill the virus. It is not something that we are super concerned about right now. That's odd. While there are 4 vaccines licensed for influenza, avian influenza, none are approved for more dangerous bird flu strains like H5N1. But they're working on it. Oh, you bet your bottom dollar they are, because they've been planning this for 5 years. A vaccine specifically for that strain is in trials. Oh, wow. I spoke too soon. Connolly said there is some degree of protection with the traditional flu shot. Oh, wow. I wonder if that's coupled with, no, it couldn't be coupled with the other thing. Poultry farms across Georgia serve as one of the state's leading cash crops. A lot of migrant birds pass through the southeastern Georgia, and they bring with them disease. Agriculture workers are most likely individuals to get infected. So, immigrants? With this first, Connolly said, particularly people who work with birds, the migratory pattern of birds is what spreads this. We are towards the end of the migratory season. We are hoping it doesn't become an issue this year. Hope is a big word right now. And especially when in New York, you have all the birds and stuff like that in New York that are spreading it around. And that's just New York. But every year we have been seeing more species getting bird flu. more mammals getting bird flu and more pathology with bird flu. Oh yeah, because gain of function in the coming months. Connolly said the big question is how we'd be able to treat it if a lot of people were to get it at one time. He added that the preparation is the best way to avoid the question. So start taking precautions is what they're saying. Start taking precautions. Start taking precautions. Take your vitamins. Try to stray away from stuff that might have the bird flu in it. Stay away from public areas that are going to have like lakeside stuff, where there's going to be a lot of seagulls and geese and things like that, Oh, I'm telling you, people, this is going to be a good one. This is being a good one. And they plan for it. This is literally for 2025 to 2028. I wonder if they're going to kill off. They're going to actually give us a pandemic, a real one probably this time, where you're going to need a face mask, but you have a bunch of people hardened to not wanting one. You know what I mean? And they're going to say, "Oh, I don't need no face mask." And unfortunately, it's who knows? But order the ones that actually are going to work if you're going to do it. Do it the right way, actually, or wear like a actual gas mask type of thing if you're gonna go about it. I don't know, but I'm telling you, people, it's a conundrum. It's a growing conundrum. All right, we got another article. Whoa, we got another article. I'm gonna need to get some more water. Sorry. Man, this just keeps getting better and better, doesn't it? All right, so this is Massachusetts news. FDA finds traces of H5N1 bird flu viruses in grocery store milk. U.S. Food and Drug Administration said Tuesday that it had detected bird flu in milk purchased at grocery stores, but the agency said it still believes people won't get sick if they consume pasteurized dairy products. It believes. They believe. There's no facts. There's nothing about we know for a fact. We just still believe. We're going to stick to what we know before. But isn't it? I mean, they lied to us before about the first pandemic. They're going to lie to us again. And isn't that movie, what was it, Songbird, where they had a lockdown in 2024, wasn't it? All right, I wonder if things are starting to line up at all. All right, all the propaganda and the Illuminati cards, where they're got the first quarantine. This one's from the 90s, and then this one's from the early 2000s, and it's called bird flu. I wonder if this means anything. You know what I mean? I wonder if this means anything right here. It's got the same stuff on it. It's got the same pictures, all right? Just the bird flu name has changed. Still a quarantine, still a face mask, still rubber gloves, still desanitizer, still you got the little thing, that goes in right there. I don't want to say it on here because boy, you get hit with something there. But we still have all of that. The body bags in this one right here. You got the body bags and all the Red Cross is there to help you. You know what I mean? We saw how they helped Hawaii. They did a real good job of helping Hawaii. Anyways, we'll keep reading this here. According to the FDA, several federal and state agencies continue to investigate an outbreak of highly pathogenic avian influenza viruses impacting dairy cows in multiple states. Infection with the virus is causing decreased lactation, low appetite, and other symptoms in affected cattle. Well, what are the other symptoms? You could tell us. The FDA noted that it believes that viral particles were detected by highly sensitive lab tests and are likely to have been remnants of viruses. Wow, that doesn't make sense to me. It's a remnant of a virus. It's inactive, but it's testing as a virus. That makes no sense to me. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And with someone that has some medical background, please email me and tell me how that's even possible. During the pasteurization process, which it usually takes, from what I understand with the whole COVID-19 stuff, they're saying that it takes anywhere from, 3 to 4 minutes to kill off those kind of viruses. But some farms are only pasteurizing for about 10 to 15 seconds to push more milk through, to get that done. The FDA said Tuesday that milk from sick cows is being diverted or destroyed, but yet it's still ending up on the shelves. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even want to read this because it's absolute hogwash. It's absolute hogwash. Yeah, maybe the release, all the cicadas. Maybe that's gonna be the next menu. item there, the big menu item. All right, we got more to read here. We got lots to read. I mean, I could keep going for a while on this one. We've already been going 50 minutes, and I've been reading nonstop, not even looking at the comment section because I got to focus. Sorry, here, going into some different things here. Oh, look at that. Look at that cute article. I'm going to read the headlines because I'm not going to subscribe to the New York Times. I just won't. Bird flu outbreak in cattle may have begun months earlier than thought. All right. Oh, look at that one. Oh, look at that one. More news just came in. Real beautiful news, and people better pay attention to this one. All right. Like I said, bird flu outbreak in cattle may have begun months earlier than thought. All right. Yeah, I'm just going to read the headline there. Yep, and I know for a fact from someone that was talking to me about it that it was they've known this since January. For the past 4 months, this has been known, people, and that confirms it. The New York Times confirm it right there. Give me a second here. Anyways, give me a second here. So, from one of my people that's reporting to me is stating that now it's beef cattle have H5N1. It's not just the milk anymore, people. It's the actual cattle. And if you don't cremate your meat, you stand a chance of getting sick. All right? No wonder they're going to say you will eat the bugs because they plan on starting another pandemic. And people, I really want you to be. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, just please, no one teaching nothing here. Like, just focus on what I'm saying here, please. All right, so if the beef cattle are getting it, all right, and they were even saying that if chickens have it, it's okay to still eat the stuff, but cook it really really well. You have to literally cremate your meat in order to eat it. So anybody that enjoys like a medium rare steak or anything like that's not very good. Barb Frederick, I'm glad you jumped on because, like they were saying, we just reported that beef cattle now are getting H5N1. Beef cattle are getting it now. It's spread across 8 states, okay? Spread across 8 states. And like I said, when it comes to poultry having the H5N1, it's all 48 states. All 48 states. And so, chickens give it to the ducks, give it to the geese, and they all are interacting. I'm sorry, my hair looks like I just rubbed a balloon on the top of my head. Got static electricity. But I don't know if Nebraska is one at this time, but I know they're saying that's 8 states, but I'm telling you, I'm promising you, I promise you, it is more than 8 states that have it. More than 8 states that have it. And so this is it, people. And so the reason that they were telling you that you will eat the bugs, okay, is because they wanted to go after our mammals first, and then they're going to start getting everybody else sick. Like I said, in the Philippines right now, there are 20 people that are sick with H5N1. 20 people sick with H5N1 is what I've been told. All right? What I've been told. All right, now hold on. I'm not done yet. I guess at this time, these are places that are getting the bird flu. Alberta, British Columbia, Nova Scotia, and Ontario, Canada, Quebec, Canada, and Saskatchewan, Canada. So there's outbreaks happening in those places as well. And like I said, there in January of 2024, all right, a woman in China died from the bird flu. There's other people getting it, and like I said, people in one of the groups that I'm in, all right, has stated that they've contracted the bird flu. They're not telling you everybody that's getting the bird flu, all right? They're not telling you. They're not telling you. They have to tell you a little bit in case, information starts to trickle out, but they're not telling you everything. I promise you. I promise you. It doesn't mean that we need to live by fear, nothing like that. I'm telling you so that way you have a heads up. I'm telling you so that way you have a heads up of what's going on because I care about you. It's not about fear, spreading fear, fear-mongering, or anything like that. And like I said, this is right on time for the WHO's pandemic treaty that they want to do. And no, this has nothing to do with the Antichrist. It says the Antichrist will make a covenant with many, all right, many nations, many global government, many governments, okay? And that the Antichrist isn't doing that. They're setting us up for global order, a new world order. Yes, they're conditioning things. They're getting it ready. They're, stirring the pot. They're letting it ferment, whatever you want to say. They're boiling it, but we're not there yet. Biden administration, and this is from World Economic Forum's website, the Biden administration announces new partnership with 50 countries to stifle future pandemics. Oh, check this out. World Economic Forum is stating this. Pandemic potential of H5N1 is a big worry. All right, I'll even show you. I got to turn the brightness down here. But right there, World Economic Forum, people, right there. Pandemic potential of H5N1, a big worry right there. Klaus Schwab and his people are telling you what's coming. And I knew this was going to happen. And I knew it was going to come out of China, too. I had a dream. The Lord showed me. I knew it was the Lord. I knew what I felt. Europe greenlights 2 avian flu vaccines just now. Just a little while ago. Not like today, but just a few days ago. Europe just greenlighted 2 avian flu vaccines. 2 new ones. All right? All right? So, here we are. Does anybody else have any news that they want to report? Anything on the ground? Anybody know of anybody dealing with any H5N1? Or anybody that's contracted it? Anybody that works in poultry? Anybody that works in cattle? Anything like that? Anything you would be willing to share with the group to get the information out there so that way people know the seriousness of this? Because I'm telling you, right there, people, it's coming. It's coming. I printed this off. It's actually the whole entire thing. I printed it off so that way they couldn't change it on us, You heard a week or so ago that Klaus Schwab was dead. I haven't heard that, but I'm not gonna comment. I'm not gonna say something negative. But yeah, it's very possible. Who knows? Between that and the climate, they will have a 1-2 reason to shut us all down. I agree, Bob Prevert. I agree. I have not heard that at all. God the Son of Jesus Christ saves. God the Son, Jesus Christ saves. I haven't heard that. He was reported very ill. There goes carnivore diet. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Ben Fernie does work in the medical stuff, and he says he knew a new pandemic was coming. All the signs are all around. They made the nursing home start wearing gowns again. I'm telling you, people, this is coming. Brace for impact. This is real, folks. It might take another month or 2 to develop, but they got to have this set up. I'm telling you, folks. I hope people are listening to me. And like I said, I'm sorry for my cockiness through reading those news articles. But when it's this serious and they've been lying to us this much and they've been telling us, like I said, all the way back since the 90s, about the first pandemic and the early 2000s, for just about 20 years, they've been telling you bird flu was coming. Right there. Right there. Bird flu is coming. And like I said, people don't want to believe it. It's the Illuminati card game. It's just the deluxe version. All right? This is the old one right here. That's the old one. Even other nurses think another pandemic is coming, Ben Fernie says. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that update. Even if he did, they will probably have someone with a mask be him. Yep, I agree. Josh, how do we know it's real and not lies? So we eat the bugs. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Do you want to roll the dice? I mean, it's just time to start gardening and raising your own chickens and stuff. I mean, maybe it's in the food. They could be tainting the food that people are giving to their animals or their cattle or whatever. I don't know. I don't have a lot of these answers, but I know that something's brewing, people. Something's brewing. And like you had little Mr. Smug Bill Gates on there saying people are probably going to pay. People didn't pay attention to it this time, but they're going to pay attention to the next one. That's what he said. And his wife's like, yep, yep. Real smug. And I'll be honest with you. If you go look at one of the last videos that I did I love just seeing Bill Gates get that pie to the face. Have you ever seen that clip? I put that in my little Rumble commercial. Like when they try to ban me on YouTube, I have a Rumble commercial. The last video that I did, I put the Rumble commercial on there, and it shows Bill Gates getting a pie to the face, and I just think it's funny. And he's like, "Oh, I got a pie to the face." Oh. Yeah, makes me laugh. I like to see him get a pie to the face. He's a coward. And he's a pedophile. You're right, Barb Trevor. He's a creepy little man. I agree 100%. So anyways, does anybody else have anything to report? Anybody in the medical field hearing anything? Even if it's hearsay, I'm willing to listen what people have to say. Barb Trevor, thank you. Looks like my milk guzzling days are over. I mean, I'll be honest with you, pray over your food. You ever heard of praying over your food? And I don't mean that cocky, but people need to pray over their food. I got chocolate milk in the fridge I've been drinking. You don't scare me. Pray over that food, man, right when you buy it. Say, in the name of Jesus, I rebuke the avian flu in Jesus' mighty name. God can do anything. I remember in the 1990s watching a documentary about zoonotic superbugs. I've never heard of. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying, like superbugs. Yeah, my wife always said, you keep using that hand sanitizer, you're going to develop the superbugs. Hello, Susan Mine. Hello, Tammy Stemke. Anybody that I forgot to say hi to, I'm sorry. I was full blown reading stuff, and there's more I could read. Most definitely, there's more I could read. But how long do we want to go live for? How much more do we want to hear? Like I said, Europe green-lighted 2 avian flu vaccines as well. There's some stuff here. I'm going to see what it says here. They're saying they're already admitting, and I'm not going to get too deep into it because this stuff's not over my head, but it's just almost over my head, where these people are saying that in the Google patents for the avian, these things, okay, that they're already, like right in the patents, it's talking about nanoparticles, just so you have that heads up. I hope you're hearing me, just so you have that heads up, people. Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to say, Barb Trevor. They got nanoparticles in them already. Okay, so they're saying that in this thing, okay, this is just a paragraph. I don't have any. I'm completely broke, son. I'm sorry. You don't have. Hey, hold on 1 second. Give me just 1 second, okay? Oh man, what a conundrum. Just one thing after the other. I'm pretty sure it is what you said, Darren Thompson. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that they put that in there. But anyways, so I'm going to read this what my buddy said. Sorry, my son needed $1 for the bus, and we don't have $1 in cash right now. It's kind of a bummer. I feel bad for him. So now he's walking to work. Now, this is going to be completely out of context, but it's what's leading it. You know, as I start reading, it's what is said. That's the big thing. It's not highly immunogenic. Additionally, genetic segments of the viral genome can reassort antigenic in the host species, resulting in new viruses with altered geneticity. I'm sorry, antigenicity that can become pandemics. Right there. To date, each year the influenza vaccine is updated to reflect the HA and neuraminidase levels expected for future circulating viruses. So, whatever that means, whatever that means. I gotta text my wife real quick. Just give me one moment. Family stuff, real quick. I do apologize. But yeah, that's in the Google patents. They're already saying that stuff. Um, oh my goodness. I pray we'll stand strong. My husband will want myself and my children to get anything necessary this time around for a trip back to Namibia this December. But why would you? It's not my business. It's not my business. I'm not going to get into people's family business. I do apologize. I'm trying to get back to my articles here. Like I said, this thing's already spreading around the globe. Already spreading around the globe, and there's already multiple people in other countries getting sick. Like I said, I heard reports that there's 20 people in the Philippines that have bird flu. So, and it's in the air. It's in the air. Get around one person, or wait, no, I'm sorry. Maybe they came into contact with 20 people that could have it. Maybe that's what it was. I'm sorry. It could be that, but it could be the other way around as well. I can't remember which. Like I said, in January, and like I said, they've known about this for months. All right. In January, there in China, a woman had died of the bird flu. H3N2, H10N5 bird flu is what she died of. Give me a second here. Good gravy. Darren Thompson, my wife has a Cash App. I do not. I do not myself, but my wife does. If you want to email me, I could share that with you. My wife's email, or my email is ntimestalk777 at gmail.com. ntimestalk777 at gmail.com. Hello, Katrina Hops. Good to see you, sister. It's been a long time. Sorry, going through different stuff here. Just give me a second. Oh, praise be to Jesus. I'm glad that those got removed, sister. Are you healing up okay, Katrina? I'm sorry, I'm going through articles here. Hold on. Okay, well, here's another one we're going to have to read through. All right, USDA now requiring mandatory testing and reporting of HPAI in dairy. So what's your H5N1? And notice, I want to point out something. HPAI, okay? HPAI, all right? Listen to me, people, all right? Listen to me closely. Notice how in the beginning of the pandemic, the first one, it was coronavirus, and then they changed it to COVID-19. Just like now, it was H5N1 and they changed it to HPAI. Isn't that interesting? Man, from H5N1 to now it's HPAI. In dairy cattle, as new data suggests, virus outbreak is more widespread than what has been stated previously, basically. USDA is now ordering all dairy cattle must be tested prior to moving the animals across state lines as a way to help stop the spread of HPAI H5N1 impacting dairy herds across the country. And I'm telling you, it's way more widespread than what they're saying it is. It's far surpassed 8 states. I know that for a fact. I just can't say which states yet. USDA is now ordering all dairy cattle must be tested prior to moving the animals across state lines as a way to help stop the spread of HPAI H5N1 impacting dairy herds across the country. And I want people to know this is already happening. I mean, it's already spreading to different countries. People are starting to get it. I mean, it's happening in other countries. There's other humans that are getting infected in other countries. This comes after a lab at Ohio State University detected genetic material of the virus right here. This is where I got those numbers from. I remember now. All right, listen. This comes after a lab at Ohio State University detected genetic material of the virus in 38%, so basically 40% of retail milk samples they've tested. So, like I said, pasteurization did nothing, all right? Almost getting close to almost half of your milk out there on the shelves has H5N1 in it. That's how widespread this is, all right? That's how widespread this is, people, all right? Thank you, Jennifer Flaherty. I'll check it out after the live. Thank you, Darren Thompson. I do have a PayPal. My PayPal is the same as my. I'll put it in the live chat here. You can just copy and paste it. And thank you for wanting to donate to the channel. Good gravy. Can't type today. endtimestalk777@gmail.com. That's my email right there, Darren Thompson. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. All right, so I'm going to keep reading this, though. This comes after a lab at Ohio State University detected genetic material of the virus in 38%. I'm just going to say 40%. It's easier. Just round it off. Of retail milk, because it probably is. Of retail milk samples they've tested, data that also suggests the current outbreak is being underreported. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's being underreported. Like they want this on purpose. They want this to spread. They want this to get out there. I've always told you here at End Times Talk, mainly the things that aren't talked about a lot. And like I said, they're kind of trickling this out into the news. They're not making it a big deal so much. They're talking about it. They're getting it out there. They have to tell you what they're going to do to you. Your silence is your consent, okay? But ultimately, most people are not taking this very seriously. I'm just being honest with you. They're not taking it very seriously at all. All right? So give me a second here. In a few federal orders announced on Tuesday, USDA says in an effort to protect the U.S. livestock industry from the threat posed by highly pathogenic H5N1 avian influenza, there are a number of actions being taken with federal partners to limit the spread. I don't know, Sister Katrina, but I do know what initiated all of this coming out is that there were private groups that went out, got milk, and tested the milk themselves. And then after that had happened, then the government decides, the FDA and the USDA and all these people start to step in and do their own testing finally. All right? That's when it started to happen. It's when American citizens called the bluff of the United States government. You're a sham and you're a shill, Biden administration. You're a sham. We love you back too, Darren Thompson. And love all of you guys. Love you guys so much. We know something big is coming. It's inevitable. Yeah, Ben Ferdy and the people, the nurses that he knows, things like that, they all believe a pandemic is coming. All right, lots of people in the medical industry. And not only just that, okay, they're making the people at the nursing homes wear robes again, just like in the first pandemic. They got to wear robes again. All right. The following measures go into effect immediately. Prior to interstate movement, dairy cattle are required to receive a negative test for the influenza A virus at an approved National Animal Health Laboratory network. And this is how they start to control the food supply, too. Mark my words. Owners of herds in which dairy cattle test positive for interstate, and it's not just dairy cattle now. Now it's meat cattle. You know, your meat cows. And bulls for interstate movement will be required to provide epidemiological information, including animal movement tracing. Isn't that funny? Animal movement tracing. Dairy cattle moving interstate must adhere to conditions specified by the APHIS. USDA says forthcoming guidance will be released, but these steps will be immediately required for lactating dairy cattle, while these requirements for other classes of dairy cattle will be based on scientific factors concerning the virus and its evolving risk profile. USDA is also requiring labs and state veterinarian offices to start mandatory reporting of influenza A nucleic acid detection diagnostic results, which is PCR. PCR. Look at that. There it is. There's your next red flag, people. They're going to start the PCR tests all over again. Isn't that fun? Or genetic sequencing in livestock that must be reported to USDA and APHIS. Prior to Tuesday's announcement, HPAI, H5N1, see how they're changing the name, just like it went from coronavirus to COVID-19. Now you have HPAI versus H5N1. In livestock was not currently a reportable disease. It's not a foreign animal disease in dairy, like it's considered in poultry, same virus, but in poultry there are reporting requirements. All right, this is considered an emerging disease. Right there, they're telling you the truth. It's considered an emerging disease in dairy cattle, and with that, there are no reporting requirements, one source told Farm Journal. USDA also says while the virus is spreading between cows in the same herd, from cows to poultry, as well as spread between dairies associated with cattle movements, now some cows that don't signs of the illness are still testing positive. So they don't look sick, but they're testing positive for the virus. One sample came from a cow in Kansas. USDA says on April 16th, APHIS microbiologists identified a shift in an H5N1 sample that could indicate that the virus has an adaptation to mammals. While we are taking this action today, it is important to remember that thus far we have not found changes to the virus that would make it more transmissible to humans and between people. Yeah, right. Gain of function is ensuring of that. States the USDA. Like we can trust them at this point now, since they told us it wasn't going to be in pasteurized milk, and it's in pasteurized milk, and now they're saying, oh, it's in pasteurized milk, but it's inactive, and eventually they're going to say, well, it's active. It's active. Stop drinking your milk. That's exactly what it's going to be. Mark my words, people. You heard it here first. All right. While cases among humans in direct contact with infected animals are possible, our partners at the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention believe that the current risk to the public remains low. And that's why Robert Redfield, who was the previous director of the CDC, said that the next pandemic is going to be a bird flu pandemic. That's why the CDC's, not too worried about it or anything like that. Isn't that funny? Just like we told you, there is parallels to 2020 and 2024. So many parallels, that's unreal. Not to mention the releases of certain movies like A Quiet Place. And think about it. What was happening during the pandemic? There was a lot of quiet, wasn't there? When people were locked in their houses, when everything was shut down, there wasn't cars on the roads or nothing like that. It was pretty much a quiet place. And now A Quiet Place Day 1 is coming out. I don't know if you've seen the trailers. I'll be honest with you, it looks like a pretty good movie. I'm an apocalyptic movie buff myself, but I'll tell you right now, it absolutely is coming down the pipe, people. Coming down the pipe. Thank you, Brother Darren. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you a lot. Anyway, so while we are taking this action, okay, I already read that. Genetic material of the virus detected in retail milk. Yeah, so like I said, it's in the retail milk. You can literally go to the store right now. Tracy White, you got jokes. That's awesome. You can go to the store right now, and 4 out of 10 jugs of milk, depending on where it comes from, okay, that's a factor there. But 4 out of 10 jugs of milk are going to have H5N1 in it. But it's inactive. Don't worry. Still go home and chug your milk and make your chunk of milk and, cook with your milk. Now, I'll be honest with you. Cooking with milk, I think, is a different aspect. I think maybe if you boil the milk yourself first, if you're going to make like macaroni and cheese or something, boil the milk first. I think that there's steps you can take to kind of get around what they're doing. Okay. Just being honest with you. But I don't know, man. You still got to be real careful because it can be in a lot of different products. On Tuesday, the FDA reassured consumers that pasteurized milk they drink is safe after the agency announced retail milk samples tested positive for fragments of HPA H5N1. Further testing showed the virus is not live, which means there is no risk to human health. Yeah, that's why they said there's no risk, because the pasteurization process gets rid of it all, but now there's particles that are inactive in the milk. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. However, researchers say this does indicate avian influenza in the nation's dairy herds is much more widespread than what's currently being reported, and USDA's decision to stop the movement of cattle also confirms how quickly the virus is spreading. Do you get that? I hope people get that. I hope people get what I just said. All right? The USDA's decision to stop the movement of cattle also confirms how quickly the virus is spreading. Oh, it's a fast-moving virus. It's a fast-moving virus, people. Like I said, all 48 states, I've told you this before earlier in the live, all 48 states have poultry H5N1. All the poultry have it, okay, in 48 states. I'm not saying all the poultry, but I'm saying all 48 states have poultry that have H5N1 is what I'm trying to say. All right? And then, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to report over 8 states have the dairy cows. And now they're saying that the meat cows have it too. All right? It's spreading to the meat cows now. It's not just cows. So when you cook your food, you need to cook it well. All right? You do. You need to cook it well. Take a blowtorch. I'm kidding. That was a joke. All right. Dr. Andrew Bowman, an associate professor in the College of Veterinary Medicine at The Ohio State University, is part of a lab that has focused largely on zoonotic transmission of influenza for decades. Historically, his research has worked on avian species and swine, but when the detection of influenza in cattle was announced, they started shifting gears and looked at cattle, especially considering There are no cattle influenza experts since it's not a species that anyone really had on the list for influenza. Can you say gain of function? Nor was avian influenza in cattle a possibility that researchers were exploring, because now it is because of gain of function. And they flat out admit it. Like I said, the U.S. is in collaboration with China. All right. It says right here, this is reported by the Daily Mail on the 25th. The 25th. So today, absolutely today it was reported. I'm sorry. I'm really behind on my dates, obviously. U.S. is collaborating with Chinese scientists to make bird flu strains more infectious and deadly as part of a $1 million project, despite fears similar tests unleash COVID. So I'm telling you, people, it's here. And we read that report. And I'm telling you right now, the Wuhan lab's a part of it. It's all part of it. And the people that worked for the Wuhan lab during the first release are a part of it now too. All right? Same people, I'm telling you folks, it's coming. It's an election year. I hope you get that. The Ohio State Lab is a part, of the National Institutes of Health, NIH, Network for the Centers for Excellence in Influenza Research and Response, as the team worked together to generate scientific data. Bowman and the team needed to try to get a handle on the scope of the new outbreak of HPAI H5N1 in cattle. They decided it would be quicker and more efficient to test samples of retail milk versus visiting every day farm in the country. We've tested 150 samples. 58 of those have tested positive to date. That's literally 1/3, people. 1/3 of the milk these people went out and picked up off the store shelves. 1/3 tested positive, people. Oh, I'm so sorry that, Jas. I'm so sorry about that. Oh, the UK here isn't testing cows. That's a report right there. So can I ask you a question, Jas, just for people, so that way people watching are aware, okay? What are some of the symptoms that you saw happen? How did, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us, how did it kind of develop? And I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm so sorry for your loss of your dad. That's a terrible thing to have to go through. An absolute terrible thing to have to go through. I am going to keep reading, though. I have to keep going. We've screened them for the presence of influenza genetic material, so the viral RNA, there you go, RNA, those that have tested positive, we have been forwarded to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, where they are conducting studies to see if there's a viable virus in there. To date, none of them have been viable, but certainly they give the indication that there is viral genetic material in the region. Bowman says the team purchased milk from 6 different states. 6 different states. And those processing plant codes on those 58 positive represent 10 different states where the milk was processed. So there's your proof. Over 8 states. It's over 8 states. That's 10 so far. They just haven't come out and said it yet. People. But there's your proof right there. I think this certainly gives us some idea that it's a larger problem than the handful of states and the 38 farms that had been reported. All right, says Bowman. I think it's much more common. The difference between finding viral RNA, which is genetic material, versus a live virus is a major point in reassuring consumers that U.S. milk supply is safe, but it's also a key metric in tracking how widespread the virus actually is. And like I said, it's in the air. You get around it, and you get it. Boom, because they literally are telling us that it's in the air. It's airborne. Just like some outbreak stuff with Dennis Hoffman. It's just not Ebola, but I wonder if it's going to mutate in some sort of hemorrhagic fever. I really do. Like I said, at the beginning of this live, I told you about a dream that I had that proves this. I told you. And I could go into another dream I had well over, probably 10 years ago. I'll say 10 years ago. I'm going to just say this publicly. Some people have heard me talk about it. But I saw the first pandemic 7 years before it happened in a dream. All right? I'm not saying a prophet, far from it, just an every average day servant. I don't want to be nothing else. I don't care. But I'm telling you, the Lord's been sharing dreams with me for a while that have been spot on. All right. And once again, this is spot on, people. It's spot on. In fact, if we look for other pathogens, RNA and DNA, we probably will find some of that as well. But we are using it as an indication of how widespread influence is in the U.S. dairy cattle herd, says Bowman. They're saying that the U.S. Milk supply is still safe. Of course, they're going to tell us that. And I'm not saying stop drinking milk. I'm just saying pray over your milk. Pray over every dairy product that you have. Pray over your meat. Pray over your food. Pray over your meals. Pray over dinner. Pray over breakfast. Pray over lunch. Pray over every snack that you get. Hold it up to God and give thanks for what God has provided for your family. You know, me and my family, we pray before every single meal. You know what I mean? Take it seriously. There's a reason. Food sources have been being tainted all the way back to ancient Egypt, and there's proof of that. There's proof of that. They have been tainting things for a very long time. Now, Jas says, thank you. He got sick very fast. He came down with a fever, which put him in the hospital. The headache came and didn't leave, and he was very short of breath and couldn't breathe. And within 13 days, from what I understand, where this is going, he passed away. Can I assume within 13 days he passed away? Man, so just like the flu, it comes like the flu, people. It comes like the flu. Hence avian influenza. Man. And so they mentioned bird flu in that movie Contagion. All right. They have another one that's all about the bird flu, but it's a bee movie. I can't remember what it was. I made a video. I put, if you go back into my videos that I got, you watch the last few videos that I made, it's in there somewhere. They literally been telling us for a while that this is going to happen. The old director of the CDC says it's not COVID he's worried about. He said it's the bird flu that's going to be the next big thing. Two or three positive tests, and they do in the whole herd. I didn't know that, but regardless, you know, this stuff is spreading like wildfire, I guess. And they're saying it's airborne. I mean, I read stuff that it's airborne in the news. Give me a second here. I'm just kind of going through some stuff here, just seeing if there's any other new news that's come out since oh, look at that. All right. Okay, give me a second. I just want to see what this is here. Okay, so let me see here. Let me see if this will even open up anything. Because I don't know. Some of these, but you got to have a membership or something. Oh, right there. Oh. Okay, well, they're going to still let me read it. Good. We have a whole new one for you. Let's see when this was dropped. Today, this just dropped today, people, just a little bit ago. The Epoch Times just came out with this. FDA admits it doesn't know. This is literally what I've been just telling you. It's literally happening in live time as we're reporting it to you and telling you. I'm telling you my opinion, what I think, what I feel in my spirit, what the Lord's showing me. All right, and here it is. FDA admits it doesn't know if retail milk contains live bird flu. Right there, people. Right there. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration is not sure whether any intact, highly pathogenic avian influenza is present in milk sold in grocery stores. An FDA official told a conference on April 25th. Today. Does any live virus survive the pasteurization process? This is the key question for us. Donald Prater, acting director of the FDA's Center for Food and Safety and Applied Nutrition. FDA officials announced earlier this week that testing on milk from grocery stores tested positive for the avian influenza, commonly known as the bird flu. The type of testing, polymerase chain reaction, there's your PCR test, can detect the intact virus, but can also detect residual genetic material from killed pathogens. There are not studies directly looking at avian influenza in bovine milk. Mr. Prater, a doctor of veterinary medicine, said Thursday. The FDA initially said that after the bird flu crossed into cattle in March, that no commercially available milk would contain the virus because farmers were being directed to divert or destroy the milk from sick cows, and because pasteurization would kill any remaining affected milk. This week, the agency acknowledged uncertainty on the matter. Right there, uncertainty on the matter. Based on available information, pasteurization is likely to inactivate the virus, the agency said in a statement. All right, right there. Officials pointed to a study that reviewed previous research and found that pasteurization killed some other viruses in milk. The FDA has refused to say how many samples from grocery stores tested positive and the sources of the samples. Right there, people. Right there. I'm telling you. All right. Right there. I'm telling you. That's what I've been saying. Mr. Prater said, hold on one second. Mr. Prater said the FDA, other government agencies, and outside researchers are engaged in studies to answer a number of critical questions, including whether intact virus survives pasteurization. PCR positive levels aren't necessarily indicative of live viruses, so it's important to understand what we're seeing in retail milk, he said. But you said it couldn't be in retail milk because of the pasteurization process. You said it wouldn't be there, and now it is. Now it's in 1/3 of the milk. 1/3 of the milk. Some pasteurization experiments involve taking milk samples and applying different time and temperature combinations. One example is looking at whether high temperature short pasteurization or 161.6 degree Fahrenheit heat for 15 seconds. See, I told you. They're doing it for 10 to 15 seconds. All right? It's not killing the virus, I'm telling you. The U.S. National Institutes of Health is examining the impact of giving raw milk from sick cattle to rodents while tested on the animals. While several other agencies are working on epidemiological investigations into cases of the virus. Authorities have confirmed cattle-to-cattle transmission of the virus just weeks after the first cases in cattle was confirmed in Texas and Kansas. Experts say that the virus does not transmit through milk. It's still unclear how long the virus remains viable and the level of virus that makes milk infectious. According to Mr. Prater, he described not knowing as two really important data gaps that we have. Authorities are advising farms with confirmed bird flu infections to discard milk from the animals in some way, just in some way. And it sounds to me that there's no oversight when they say, just go ahead and discard it in some way. There's no oversight. I hate to hear what I'm reading right now. They can also feed the milk to other animals, but only after heat treatment at levels similar to those used in pasteurization that allow the H5N1 to still be in the milk? Oh, man. Oh, man. No oversight whatsoever, man. This is willy-nilly. It's the wild, wild west. Wild, wild west of H5N1, people. Testing so far has confirmed cases of H5N1, a strain of the avian influenza, in 33 cattle herds across 8 states, but yet we heard before it's 10. It's 10 states. So they're not telling us. They're trying to hold back a little bit. So that's a quarter almost a quarter of the United States is infected with H5N1 in the dairy cattle. Wow. And now they're saying it's in the meat cattle too. U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC officials told the conference Thursday that it and state partners have actively monitored 44 people in contact with 6 animals. I see there. Oh, I told you there's people getting it. They're monitoring 44 people that have been in contact with sick animals and tested at least 23 people who have showed symptoms. All right? Are you listening to me, people? Are you listening to me? Are you listening to me? Are you hearing me? You need to get this out there. You need to spread this video far and wide and tell them to skip to the 1 hour and 30 minute mark so they can hear what I just said to you. So they can hear what I just said to you, people. Right there. Right there. I'm going to read it again. All right. Thursday, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention officials told the conference Thursday, today, that it and state partners have actively monitored 44 people in contact with sick animals and tested at least 23 people who have showed symptoms. It's spreading. I told you 20 people in the Philippines have it. Here we go again. Here we go again. Man, I got the goosebumps. I told you I have this dream, and here we are, coming straight out of China, man, straight out of China. People, and they're not going to tell you what's going on in China because there's such a news clamp down there. But only one human in Texas has tested positive so far. Yep, that's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. They're gonna die on their sword. I'll tell you. In another bid to curb the outbreak, U.S. authorities recently ordered farmers to produce negative tests for the bird flu before moving cattle. We already know about that between states. Previously, testing was voluntary and only done on cows displaying symptoms. So, yeah, it could be everywhere now. It could be everywhere now. You get that? You get that? There's been no oversight. They have not cared. They have allowed this thing to spread. There's 44 people that are being tested that have been in contact with sick animals. And I mean, how many people, and if it's in the air, how many of those people got around people that have, been into contact? People, man, and 23 people of those 44 are showing symptoms. 23. Which include lethargy and discolored milk. The action will help us get ahead of this disease and limit its spread. Yeah, you've done a real good job at that, CDC. Done a real good job at that. Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack said in a statement, H5N1 originated in China among birds in the 1990s. Thank you. Thank you, Jesus, for showing me this dream, Lord. The latest strain has been circulating in the United States since 2021. The virus infected numerous flocks of poultry before beginning to infect ruminants earlier this year. There's no indication at present of transmission among humans, and sequencing from the virus taken from the Texas patient showed no adaptations yet, because, the gain of function and all, that would make the virus more transmissible to or among humans. You're outright lying. Let's not believe any of these things that these people are saying. Let's take this seriously. CDC officials said Thursday analysis of the testing results suggests antivirals like Tamiflu used against influenza will work in human cases. Vivian Dugan, one of the officials, told the conference. If more cases among humans appear, when they were telling us only one person, until today, it was only one person. Now it's 44 people have been in contact with these things, and then 25 people with symptoms. See how it's changing? See how it's multiplying? If more cases among humans appear and vaccines are cleared, then the vaccines would be expected to be at least as good as seasonal influenza shots. Oh, isn't that cute? Oh, isn't that cute? And I just read to you in the Google patents, there's nanotech in them. There's nanotech. There's nanotech in it. Do you get that, people? I hope you're listening. I hope people are listening. I hope people are listening. All right. Share this video with everybody. I'm not one to be like, oh, share my video. I don't care about numbers, but share this video far and wide so people can be warned. All right. So, like I said, the seasonal shots often provide subpar protection against infection and better shielding against severe disease. Yeah, just like it worked with COVID-19. Yeah, okay. Federal agencies are recommending people take steps such as not consuming raw milk, cheese, or meat from animals with suspected or confirmed H5N1. So before they said it wasn't in pasteurized milk, then it's a pasteurized milk, and then federal agencies are now recommending people to take steps such as not consuming raw milk, but wonder if we should take that as in pasteurized milk, cheese, or meat from animals with suspected or confirmed H5N1 and avoiding exposure without protection to sick or dead animals or animal feces. So watch out for your animals. Watch out for your dogs. Dogs like to eat poop sometimes. Watch out when you walk your dog or you let your cat out to run in the neighborhood. You better be careful. Farmers and farm workers are being advised to carefully handle sick and dead animals. So they're literally dying from this stuff. That's what I'm taking from it. If you read into their words, you read into the wordplay here, the animals are dying from this. They should wear safety goggles and other equipment to prevent infections. According to the CDC, the agency said doctors should test positive. So the doctors should test positive who might have H5N1 infections, and if tests return positive, pass on information to laboratories for further analysis. I really hope people are understanding what is at stake here, okay? I really hope people are understanding what's at stake here. I really pray, like I said, Jas, and what a way to say that. What a good way to say that is I pray for everybody's good health here. I pray for everybody's good health here, but you best prepare for another quarantine because I'm going to show you once again. Okay? They prepared for this, all right? It's probably going to be towards the end of this year that they really full on blow up this thing. You know, it's an election year and all. And then in 2025 to 2028 is going to be your lockdown. That's what I'm predicting right here because of this document from the Johns Hopkins Center. Look at that. Okay. So they told you that they were going to do it. Now they're doing it. Okay. Now, back in the 1990s, they told you there was going to be a quarantine. All right. And there's your little, injection. Okay. Your quarantine, rubber gloves, your face mask, the body bags that stacked up as a result of everything. And, we saw that in New York and we saw that in China, the body bags stacking up. All right. Then you have your hand sanitizer right here. And then you have your little medication in the good old Red Cross. That's your best friend right there, people, right there. And right here. But now check this out. This is the newer version. This is the deluxe Illuminati version. See, and it's, like I said, it's still an Illuminati card. But look, bird flu. Right there. And the only thing that's changed down the image instead of the body bags, it's got the chicken. Bird flu. Another quarantine's coming. And I've told you for months and months and months. Sorry, that's my cameras. I told you for months that this is coming. Months and months and months that this is coming. I really hope people are paying attention this time. I really do. I hope you take it seriously. Barb Forever says, my boyfriend and her husband raised pigs and they have lost 1,000 head due to a new PRRS virus. Are you listening to me? Barb Forever, one of our moderators, just said her boyfriend and her husband, my best friend, I'm so sorry. My best friend and her husband raise pigs and they have lost 1,000 head, so 1,000 pigs, due to a new PRRS virus. I wonder if it's spread to pigs too. Thank you so much, Josh, for coming on here and sharing this important information. You're welcome. I just want to keep people prepared. If you want to subscribe to this channel, and we're always going to give you these updates. We're always going to bring it in. We're always going to bring it in up to the forefront there, so that way if something's happening, you'll find out. I'll be honest with you, Blue Perfect, and these people that think that this is only to get rid of the food supply, you're wrong. You're wrong. They want people to get sick. This is just starting. This has been going on since January. I think there's a whole lot more than 44 people that have been into contact with sick animals. I think there's a whole lot more. There's a whole lot of kids that are sick that aren't getting well. All right. And I'm not saying that they have this, but I'm saying something's mutating. Something's going on. Something's happening. This is not something to take lightly. I've had so many people come into my live chats in the past and absolutely state that, like, oh man, that this is straight up just a reason to get rid of our food and make us eat the bugs. It's one of the reasons. But I'm telling you right now, people, that this is some real stuff going on. And to take it seriously. Take this extremely seriously. They don't want people to know what's happening right now. What are the symptoms? Fever, headache, headache, and upper respiratory issues like coughing and mucus and stuff like that. Yeah, just like a regular flu. Maybe some diarrhea, things like that. Janie Withrow says, last week I heard on the news on TV, but I can't remember which one. A farm worker had it in his eye, but was fine. He caught it from cattle. Yeah, that was the original guy, supposedly the original one, but it's been here a whole lot longer. They have known about this since January and have been lying to you about it since January for the past 4 months. And now it's finally coming out into the woodworks, and it's a whole lot worse than what they're saying. And it's going to get a whole lot worse if this is really it. If this is really going to be, the next quarantine that the Illuminati's been telling us that they're going to do to us. And like I said, as far as pandemic 2025 and 2028, they're telling us what they're going to do to us. But that's what the flu is, Barb Forever. It's a respiratory virus. Like one of our people that was just in here, she said her father died from bird flu quite a while ago. And she said in 13 days from getting it, he was dead. 13 days. And so, you know, it's just crazy to me that you know, they're lying to people. They're lying to people. It's in the milk, people. It's right on the store shelves waiting for people. All right. I'll show you the picture of the counties one more time, Maria H. Give me a second here of all the places that are affected. Give me a second to pull it up. And this is from the CDC, people. This is from the CDC. Now, you're going to have to just kind of imagine where your state's at, what county you're in. But this is how far it's spread right now. 1/3 of America has this right now, it seems like. Or a quarter. We'll say a quarter. About a quarter of America has this right now. And this is probably behind. This is probably something that is behind. It's probably not accurate. Okay? It's probably not accurate. But it's spreading. It's spreading and it's moving its way about. It's moving its way about. People better take this seriously. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to say this. All right. I heard there's a couple of things I'm going to tell you. All right. First off, a person that I know is very anti-mask is going to buy masks just in case, but like those ones that are actually effective at stopping stuff that seal around your face. Anyways, getting past that, I heard a story a businessman told me during the first pandemic, okay? All right? Like I said, I was an artist, knew a lot of people, sold art to a lot of people. This guy was in the know. It was like a health food business that he had. He made like health food bars, okay? Health food bars. And he was told by the higher ups that they would release 2 pandemics. There would be 2 lockdowns, okay? All right, and this is after I had my 2 lockdown dreams. I had the 2 lockdown dreams, dream, and I'll actually share it with you in a second. But I'm going to say this story first. That there'd be 2 lockdowns. The first one wouldn't really be much of anything, but would still kind of be something. But the second one was going to be the real one. All right, they have trained people to not want to wear masks and not want to do things to protect themselves. And I get it. No masks. I get it. Don't get mad at me. I'm just telling you a story. All right. But he said that they were going to set people up for a huge culling later on because people wouldn't adhere to any kind of safety, anything. All right. People better start figuring out how they can be safe during a pandemic and figure out what it takes, like a biosuit or something like that. You know, masks that actually work. All right. Start doing your research now. There's a lot of smart people out there anyways. So I'm going to tell you about this dream that I had before. All right. So that way you guys know that I mean, you can ask my wife. My wife will tell you. All right. She's at work right now, but my wife has been on the live chat. And there are people here in this live chat right now that saw my wife comment on this and say that I told her about this years before the first pandemic ever happened, before the first lockdown, before the first quarantine ever happened. I'll tell you the story. This was the dream that I had. Oh, here's my wife right now. Hey, can I ask you a question? Hello? Oh, that's weird. Give me a second here. Because I'm going to see if she'll allow me to put her on speaker so you can hear her. But I doubt she will. She's so camera shy, even with her voice. I doubt she will. But she's been in the live chat before and confirmed this. But I would love for her to actually, you know, tell you guys. Hello. Hey, I'm live right now. So if I put you on speakerphone, would you be willing to speak to the camera and tell them about what, you know, how I told you about that dream about the Chinese restaurant way before the first pandemic? Would you, you know, confirm with me? Or just, you know, just how I told you like 7 years before it ever happened that it happened. You know, my wife's a little camera awkward. So, but I'm going to put you on speaker, sweetie. You're going to get to hear my wife's voice for the first time. All right, go ahead.
Hi. So am I supposed to tell the dream?
No, I'll tell the dream, but just, you know, whatever you want to say about its confirmation.
Okay.
You're live and you're on speaker.
Okay. You're also on speaker because I can't drive with my hands. Oh, and there's an ambulance behind me.
You okay?
Yeah. Oh, never mind. They're stopping. They're going the other way.
All right, you're live though.
Okay. I'm just waiting.
No, you're live.
I know, but I thought you said you were saying the dream.
No, I'm saying I'll tell them the dream after you talk about it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well, it was a long, long time ago, like way before the pandemic happened. And so I'm not supposed to say, okay, I'm sorry. I'm really bad at this. But yeah, he had a dream that involved a Chinese restaurant in town, which was strange because that's just like a weird thing to be dreaming about. Black vehicles, like tinted vehicles that were like chasing him, and it stirred him bad enough where he woke me up and then proceeded to like tell me in detail the dream. And we knew it was something like because it stirred him so much and it seemed concerning, but we weren't sure at the time what it meant. But I mean, there are a lot of details obviously that I left out that I'll let him talk about, but it's just a whole lot, and it all stems and it like lines up perfectly with what happened with the pandemic in 2019 going into 2020 really.
Okay, is there any more you wanted to say, sweetie?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for doing that. Love you. All right, bye. So now I'll tell you the dream. So what she told you is that it lined up perfectly with what the pandemic was. And I'll tell you the dream. I just wanted you to hear it from my wife's voice herself. I don't want to speak for my wife or anything like that. But so in the dream, I got sick, in which I did get sick with coronavirus, COVID-19. It was coronavirus at that time. All right, super sick. I mean, I was so full of mucus. At the time I did smoke, but I was so full of mucus, I thought I was going to die. My lungs were weak. I couldn't cough up the mucus. There was times where I was throwing up mucus, big piles of mucus. I had to go outside to get oxygen. And I mean, it was winter at that time. It was like, getting into winter, okay? In December, it started to get cold, snowy, and I was puking off the railing of my back porch at the time, all right, to try to get this stuff out of me. And I'm telling you, I had like frozen piles of mucus. I'm not going to lie. It's gross. Yes, I know. But I am telling you this because that's how sick I was. In the dream, I got sick, all right? And in my city that I live in now, which I didn't live here before, all right? And I did live here in this city during the pandemic, okay? I lived in another city to the south, okay? And so I was in that city 7 years. I had this dream 7 years before the pandemic ever happened, 7 years, all right? I was sick. I was taken to a Chinese restaurant that had been converted into a medical facility. Here in my town, there's a Chinese restaurant. It had been converted into a medical facility, the whole entire strip mall, okay? And everybody was being taken into this medical facility on steel slabs, what do you call it? Yeah, she does have a pretty voice, doesn't she? Yeah, she's a cutie. Anyways, so these steel beds, they're just, surgical steel, putting them in, and everybody, and I'm going to be graphic here, everybody's drowning in their own phlegm. It's like all over their face, like some stuff out of the movie The Stand, like some Captain Tripp stuff, okay? I mean, just coming out of their nose, everything. People dying of it, okay? The jokes need to stop. I'm being serious here, brother. Anyway, so what I'm saying is that so I was like, I'm gonna die in here. And so eventually I ended up actually getting better and coming up off that bed. Praise be to Jesus. Praise be to Jesus. All right. I came up off of that bed. Okay. And I was able to escape this medical facility that was a Chinese restaurant that was converted into a medical facility. Just like in this dream I saw, this other dream that I saw, a giant chunk of jade, that Chinese restaurant let me know it's coming out of China. Just like when I saw that chunk of jade, I'm like, oh, I know it's coming out of China again. All right, which this has, okay, All right. But it's just not, but this is my channel. It could be your personality, but I just ask that you respect my channel. Anyway, so, and you're fine being here. Just, calm down with the jokes for a minute. It's okay. It's okay. You're not, no one's upset and you're forgiven. All right. Anyway, so, going on with this. So I'm dying here and I get better. I come up off the bed. I escape this medical facility and I start running back home, which in the direction that I was running, okay, was actually in the direction that I live right now, okay, or that where I lived during the pandemic as well. I actually, when I lived during the pandemic, I only lived down the street a little bit. We bought a house that was down the street a ways, just a hop, skip, and a jump away. So when I was running back home, you're forgiven, brother. Anyway, so when I was coming back home, okay, or when I left the medical facility and I was running towards home, all right, I was getting chased by two, basically you call them spook vehicles, FBI, CIA, whatever, CDC, whatever. I don't know what kind of government vehicles they were, but they were government vehicles. And the Lord showed me in my dream, and he put this in my spirit after that dream, that those two vehicles represented two lockdowns that were coming. And so I saw that in a dream, 7 years. You just heard from my wife, from herself, that she confirmed it. I didn't tell you. And she even told you about the black vehicles before I ever, mentioned them in telling you this dream that I had. All right. And so then the Lord showed me this other dream with this jade, and there's another lockdown. There's nobody out on the streets. It's way worse this time. I mean, and it was sunny too. It reminded me of like summer or something like that. So, I think this is something not to take lightly. I'm going to listen to what the Lord showed me in my dream. I'm not saying I'm a prophet. I want to make sure people know I am not a prophet. Just because the Lord shared a dream with me about something that's coming that actually is pretty accurate does not mean that I'm a prophet. I don't want to be called a prophet. I don't want to be treated like a prophet. I am a servant. That is it. I'm not even an evangelist. I'm not a pastor. I'm not none of those things. I just love Jesus with all my heart, and all I do is care about God's people, and I want to see people be okay. All right. I am not a seer. It wasn't a premonition. It was just a dream. God gave me a dream, showed me something in the future that was to come to pass. It came to pass. All right. God showed me another one. It came to pass. Okay. All right. And that third little part of the dream that was a couple of weeks later, people were hemorrhaging. I saw hemorrhaging. I saw blood coming out of people's eyes, out of their nose, out of their mouth. All right. So anyways, I wanted to share those with you so that way, you knew what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So that way you know what's going on. So I work in hospice to help ease end-of-life anxiety and such worries. And a dear patient told me, take it seriously no matter what it is. Take it seriously. I am glad I found your channel. Thank you. I'm glad to have you here, Jazz. Is it Jazz or Jazz? Put J-A-Z-Z if it's Jazz. And if it's Jazz, I'll just keep saying Jazz. Because I want to have your name right. I hate not saying people's names right. J. Pete says, amen. The devil's playing the long game since way back. Yep, I agreed. Yeah, and it's hard to put yourself out there publicly and say, I had a dream. And it's accurate up till now. It has not, and I even told people about a dream about a ship. I can't remember it 100%, but I did make a video on it on my Rumble. It's in some of my earlier Rumble videos where I was shown in a dream that this ship that kind of represented America was going to be started to toss and turn. And see what was interesting about it, and people aren't going to like to hear this, that even the Christians were involved in it. Like even Christians were, getting tossed and thrown around with this ship. You know what I mean? I believe a pre-tribulation rapture is coming. I believe it's real, but I believe that there is a form of something happening, like a chastisement, getting God's people prepared, getting their lives right with Jesus, getting Jesus ready, or getting us ready to be the bride of Christ when it's time for the marriage supper of the Lamb with Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Jesus wants a spotless bride, and he's going to do what it takes to wake up his sleeping bride, because there are remnants of his bride that are still asleep. And God be praised that he's taken his time, because otherwise these people would miss the pre-tribulation rapture. So I'm not saying everybody's going to, obviously, but God's going to wake up his people. I'll tell you a story, and this is a true story. Like I've told it a couple of times here, but I'm going to tell it again. All right. I used to, when I was younger, I've always liked, when I was younger, my heavy metal music, things like that. And my mom wanted me to listen to Christian music. All right. And so she opened up a tab at a Christian bookstore. And when I wanted a CD, I could go down there, listen to a few albums, and pick out a CD that I wanted that was a Christian CD. And I said, I called my mom at work. I'm like, hey, you mind if I go down and get a CD? And she's like, go ahead, Josh, go ahead. And so she called the lady that owned the bookstore, and her name was Bev. Dude, I'm telling you, she was like the shortest woman. She's probably this tall. I remember her, Bev. And I don't know if she's alive still. I think she passed away. But anyways, so she told me, I was sitting there listening to music, and she's like, man, she was telling me, and this was, man, I must have been probably, I don't know, 16, 17, something like that. And I went down there, I'm listening to music, I'm talking with her, and she's like, man, during 9/11, Christian book sales surged. She's like, they surged. And we had, so many sales, it was unreal. We were doing really well financially. Now we're struggling. This Christian bookstore is struggling. They eventually had to close. Believe it or not, there was nowhere in town to get any Christian anything. We had 3 other stores open up and try to stay afloat, and they closed down too after hers closed down. And she had an amazing store. I remember it since I was a kid. I missed that store. I missed it a lot, actually. Anyways, but she was telling me about how during 9/11, everything exploded, sales exploded. And I remember when my mom died, she died during the first pandemic. Okay. And I remember I was meeting with the pastor, and we were talking about stuff in his office, getting ready to do like a memorial service for her. And he told me, he's like, we're a church that's thriving under this pandemic. We're not shutting down. We're thriving. And I've never seen so many people in that church. It was filled to the brim with people that were just volunteering and doing this and doing that. And then as these things slow down, people go about their lives and they get distracted with entertainment and movies and music and video games and all these things. Okay. And it's, I'll be honest with you. I would, Katrina, I would. Biological, nuclear, chemical. You need a BNC gas mask if you want to be out and about, and those filters are expensive. I'm telling you. And anyways, Katrina Hops, if you want to email me at endtimestalk777@gmail.com, I can teach you a little bit more about what to do that will actually do something. Anyways, so, but God does these things to wake up the sleeping saints. He does these things to wake up the Christians that are fast asleep, that are focused on entertainment, focused on video games, not winning souls. He is going to chastise his children, give him a little spank on the butt, and he's going to say, get going with winning some souls. I need these people in my kingdom. They're written in the book of life, and you need to go out there and fish them out. You're fishers of men. Get out there and go out there and do it. Change the world in which you live. Do something about it. Quit sitting idly by and letting people's lives. It's between heaven and hell. You want people to go to hell and burn for forever when you could have stood up? I'm going to tell you something, and it's going to make me cry. But my son had to go down to my wife's work today. My son had to go down to my wife's work today and meet with her about something. Sorry, my back's hurting. And he's skateboarding there to get there faster. He's a good skateboarder. My son's actually really good at skateboarding. And he sees a man, all right, and my son's got headphones in, and he thought the man said something to him, and he took one out, and he's like, oh, hey, you say something to me, bro? And he's like, no, man. And my son said he looked really, really sad. And he had a dog with him, and he said, what a beautiful dog. What a beautiful dog. And my son can be a handful sometimes. But this makes me proud as a father. My son sees what I'm doing online. And I'm telling you this. He goes up to this guy, and he starts talking to him. He says, the guy comes up to him, and he says, tells my son, don't do drugs, man. And I guess he's struggling with drug addiction and all that stuff. He's sitting by the lake that we live by. And he's like, don't do drugs, man. There's lots of homeless that hang around the lake and they fish, for food. Okay. And he's like, don't do drugs, man. And my son's like, I won't. He's like, I don't want nothing to do with that stuff. And my son hates that stuff. Absolutely hates it. Anyways, my son's like, are you a Christian? And he's like, nah, man. He's like, God doesn't love me, man. And my son's like, yes, he does. Yes, he does. My son wraps his arms around this man. My son's 17. This man's 25. All right. He's a Hispanic guy from down south. All right. And he puts his hand on his head and he starts to pray for him. And this 25-year-old man started to weep in my son's arms. started to weep in my son's arms and cry in my son's arms. That's the impact that you will have if you get out and you change the world in which you live. If you get out and you spread the name of Jesus Christ. All right? God sees, or my son sees, what God's doing with my life here on End Times Talk. He sees what God's doing, and he wants a piece of that. And he went out there, and he changed someone's life. That man will forever remember that young man that came up and prayed for him. He was touched and moved enough to pour tears. To pour tears. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and around here, we don't set rapture dates, JP. That's why your comment got deleted. We don't set rapture dates. That's one thing we don't do here. But, you know, but you're welcome to comment. But my point is that it's a chain reaction. It starts somewhere. It starts somewhere. And it cannot end here. I rebuke it in Jesus' name. It will not end with this stuff. It will not end with some pandemic. God's people are going to rise above. God's people are going to rise above. They're going to rise to the occasion. I believe it will. I believe you will. I believe you are going to go out and change that world in which you live. I think I'm going to end the live here. I appreciate each and every single one of you for coming to this live. I hope you're encouraged by this last bit that I've told you. Because you can go out, you can change this world. You don't have to let it stay the same. You don't have to be afraid. Walk with Jesus. Walk with Jesus. Walk with Jesus. He'll change your life. Repent and turn from your ways. Repent and turn from the idolatry. Repent and turn from the lust. Repent and turn from the addiction. Repent and turn from the anger and the hate and the unforgiveness and the rebelliousness. Those of you who are against your parents, come back together once again. Those of you who are estranged from your spouse, come back together once again. I'm telling you, God is going to fix things. God is going to heal things. God is on the move. Hallelujah. God is not done yet. He is not dead. All right? I'm telling you, people. All right? Trust in Jesus. Trust in Jesus with all your heart. He is our everything. May God bless you all. May God keep you. And please don't forget to go out and change this world in which you live.